Hello everybody, welcome back to Brain Domain. This is Ashu Madgil and today's video is going to be about parenting, and I'm going to talk about fear-based parenting versus love-based parenting, though there's a lot to talk about, but I'm going to touch upon a few questions, reflections, and one point that is very important for parents to think around if they really want to give that deep and a real authentic sense of self-esteem to their children. And so let me start with the difference between the fear-based parenting and the love-based parenting. If you're a parent who finds himself taking more decisions about your young children instead of trying to create a space where you think that children can have a voice of their own and you need to have the way to reach out to them and let them voice out, then you're operating from a love-based parenting where you understand that children have a need for expression and children have a need to start feeling and exploring the world from their perspective, and you are providing them that ground, that opportunity through the ways you communicate with your children. So communicating with children is very important. That are you a parent who educates himself, who thinks about it, who sits down and reflects upon your communication style with your kids? Are you operating from reacting on the times when children do things which are not according to your liking, or are you responding to them by honoring them? So I'm going to talk about this. There's a reflection that I would like a parent to do, and that reflection is to ask yourself a question. Do I have the deep need that my child follows my directions, my instructions, since the child, I believe, is too young to make his own decisions? And I'm talking about children of the very young age, starting from like 3 to 7 year old children. Uh, if you have a child of this age and you find yourself making most of the decisions on behalf of your child, then it's time to reflect upon that. Is there a deep need in me that my child is obedient, he follows my instructions, and at times when I find my child is throwing temper tantrums and he's not doing the things as I require him or her to do, it makes life difficult for me. It makes me angry or helpless parent. So if you stand in the domain of an angry or helpless parent, then you are reacting. And if you find yourself a helpless parent but who is mindful of the situation and who is trying his best to explore and struggle to explore what are the best ways I can respond to these kind of situations next time, then you are working towards operating within the range of the love-based parenting. Because what is love-based parenting? Love-based parenting is complete opposite of the fear-based parenting. In love-based parenting, there is not that deep need. We need the well-being of our children, but there is not deep need that is orientated by our egos that the child should or must do what I require him to do, because if he doesn't do it, it hurts my ego, and when my ego is hurt, automatically I become angry, and that is what I have been brought up to think around parenting, because I was parented like that. If you find yourself in those kind of situations, then it's very important you take some time off if you really want to give a very healthy, very confident start to your children where they can make confident decisions of life as they grow up into healthy adults. So we started right at the first half of the age when they are still growing. And believe me, the first 7 years of any child's life are of paramount importance. It is at this time brain is growing at the highest speed, highest rate, and it is forming networks and connections which will allow children to create a belief system around other things they will be experiencing in their later lives. So it is like a foundation. You're building a foundation for your children in following a kind of parenting style. So if you follow a fear-based parenting style where you have been brought up to think that Children who are very young, they do not have a voice of their own, they do not have an intelligence of their own, and they must be, all decisions must be made by the parents because they're too young. They do not know what is right for them or what is wrong for them. You are laying very weak foundations for your children. Providing them with all the material things and following this kind of parenting style is the worst thing you can do to your children, because children are individuals. They are also separate individuals, no matter whatever their age is, and they are very intelligent. They know as per their ages what their needs are, what their physical needs are, what their mental needs are. It's very natural, but we make it unnatural when we project our ego and our decisions on our children. And that is the space where you will find a lot of parents saying, my daughter or son is throwing a temper tantrum, he doesn't listen to me, he starts behaving differently from a few hours before. I want him to like eat the kind of foods that I think are healthy for him. Why is this happening? Because of the lack of strategies, the lack of knowledge, the lack of that parenting knowledge, where you honor your child's likes and dislikes. You have come up with the strategies and communication styles and models where you know how to communicate to the children and give them that space where they can feel safe with you and express what they like, what they don't like, what they don't like about how you talk to them, what they like about when you talk to them like this. So it is like honoring children, giving that the space. And when we are doing that, we are also teaching them a healthy sense of personal boundaries, which is such a common problem nowadays, since on average, I think many people do not even know what the personal boundaries are. So when we know what the personal boundaries are, and we know the personal boundaries are respected, when we understand the dynamics of ego and we respect the spirit in each person as a separate individual, even though if he is my young child, it doesn't mean that the child is my position and I have a right to treat the children the way I want. I can project my anger on them on the days I'm not feeling good or I don't like what they're doing. No, 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 no. If you have this kind of parenting style, you are definitely going to co-create another parent when your child will grow up who's going to treat his kids like that. So it's time to reflect and ask yourself the question, am I a parent who operates from a fear-based models of parenting, or am I a parent who wants to, chooses to, or have an intention to raise my children from the love-based parenting where I keep my ego aside and I learn about the child psychology, I learn about personal boundaries, I learn about honoring the intelligence in children, I learn about giving space to the children where I have a patience to sit down and communicate with them to understand what they like, what they want, and provide them with the space of fun where the children will start feeling safe with me, that they can voice out whatever is on their mind without having a sense of being judged. So, respecting and honoring them as separate individuals, you are helping them and allowing them to access their personal power. Another question you can ask yourself is, do I give my child a space to experience his or her personal power on daily basis? What strategies do I follow? What steps do I take in which my young child, who is as young as 3 years old or 5 years old, he gets those moments of communication where he feels that he's honored and he feels that sense of being alive, being confident that he has the power to make choices for himself. How explicitly do it do for your children? So ask yourself these questions, reflect upon them, that do I want to be a parent of too obedient child who has no sense of personal power to make his own decisions with confidence and independence? Or do I want a child who harbors a healthy sense of self-esteem? So there are a lot I can talk about love-based parenting, and I will be creating a series of videos on this topic. And If you would like to stay updated about these videos, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button on my channel called Brain Domain, and also hit the bell icon to get notifications about each follow-up video I will be uploading about love-based versus fear-based parenting, to give pointers and tips so that you can give the greatest gift to your children, a gift of authentic self-esteem where there is no fear but happiness and a sense of self-worth and knowing that they know the best for themselves.